And we are live.
We are. Hello, Nuno. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And you?
Very good. Thank you. And today I brought for us a really interesting subject. It's about the word no and how it can, the use of the no like the opposite of yes, not no like knowledge, and how it can impact the quality of life that we have. And if we go a little bit deeper, how it can improve our self esteem, how it can improve our relations, and what studies show us the benefits of
Mhm.
saying no, and how can we use it in a polite way without being, or the other person being discomfortable with our no? So this is the subject today. I'm a little bit afraid of asking you something and you're gonna answer me no because it's your humor, but you wanna start?
No. Yes, yes. I want to start. Okay.
Good, good, good.
So I think that the way that we use the word no, it is very connected with our background, cultural background,
Hmm.
because it's how we are used to use that expression. Okay, I think that when we are newborns, when we are little childs, we learn a lot of don't do this, don't do that, you cannot do this, kind of building your limits of the expected behavior of a child. Okay, so there's a
Hmm.
lot of no's in that moment, but then things change.
They do.
And we don't want to be rude and say just a sharp no. You want to start? No. It doesn't sound nice, doesn't look nice. And I think New York, for me, living in New York, was a really good experience of how to go around the answer no. Okay. Oh, do you have this? So sorry, we don't have it, but can I suggest this other thing? It's a marvelous way of saying no in a polite way and
Hmm.
giving back an alternative instead of a no, period, and that's it. Uh, and I think I learned a lot by having the chance of living and working in New York with that way of going around the word.
Yeah, it completely makes sense. And I think the word no has different impact depending on your culture, depending on your background, depending where you are from, and also if you are a man or a woman. So the word no is a really important one. But I think in especially New York, we don't know United States deeply, but we do know New York deeply. People there say no really easily. But in Brazil and in Portugal, people are a little bit worried about saying no. And if I say no, people are not going to like me. Someone is going to feel bad because I said no. But in New York, or even better, in the Scandinavia, they say no with such a naturality because it is a natural thing. But if you are in a position where you have your boss, or you want to please someone, or you are a newcomer, or you are the youngest, you try not to use no so people are going to like you maybe, but in a long term it's bad for you, it's bad for your health. So I would say the first thing that we should do is to observe, like, okay, do I say a lot of no's or too many no's, or do I say enough no's? Because if I'm just saying yes to please someone, but the outcome to myself is that I'm going to be overwhelmed. I am going to be burnt out, or I'm not going to be comfortable. If I'm not going to be comfortable, I should use a no. But not everyone understands or has the courage to say no. So I think we could start with this idea, maybe. What do you think?
I agree. I agree. I think you touch a really good point, which is the connection with the absence of no and burnout. So
Mm-hmm.
it is quite common that if you say yes to everything, you are putting a lot of weight on your shoulders or on your back. So it
Mm-hmm.
means you are just gathering more and more responsibility, more and more tasks. Probably you're not delegating stuff. You're just always saying yes to others and to yourself, and you're going to feel overwhelmed. And then, as a consequence, you're going to enter a burnout quite easily.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is important to equalize the amount of yes and no to manage your levels of stress in a daily basis. I think that is for sure a really useful point of view regarding this subject.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I understand the use of the no as putting limits in the relationship with other people. So the no works as the limit. Like this is the point where until where you can go. You cannot go beyond this point.
Yeah.
And this is important for your coworkers, your family, your friends, and even people you don't know. Like when you say no, you are putting a limit. And if you are putting a limit, you are respecting the most important person, that's yourself. And it's really important. If you don't say no, the only person that's going to deal, or the main person that is going to deal with the consequences of all your yeses, is yourself. Because, for example, the relationship, me and you, if I tell you always yes, the tendency is that you're going to ask more things. When I say no, okay, in a polite way, of course. But if I say no, when I say no, I'm telling you, okay, this is my limit. And it's so important. And even though it can be discomfortable, I understand that. But we put a limit. We say, I cannot, or I don't want to go beyond this point. So this is where the base of our relationship. And if the two people in the relationship, and it can be a work relationship, a friendship, or anything, it is a more balanced relationship, and it's a more transparent relationship. So in a long term, we can consider that this relationship is going to be it's going to last more, and it's going to be healthier for the two of us, because it is important to hear a few no's and not be discomfortable receiving that, because the no many times it's more related to the person that says the no than with the person that hears the no. I'm not saying you are wrong or anything. I'm just telling, this is my limit. I can't work more than that. I can't handle more than that. I don't want to go beyond this point.
Yes, that is true. And also the same way as you gave that example of the relation between two people and how they build their limits, or they build their partnership. Okay, it is kind of a contract. Okay, um, also with yourself. Okay, very recently, I have a couple of situations that would impact the number of hours that I would sleep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I said no. Okay. Not because I don't want that invitation, but it was to give a class, an early class, but due to my regular scheduling, it will be tough. Okay. So I had to say no, but first I asked, is it possible to start that class a little bit later? If so, I continue to be interested. And then I received a no. Yeah, I talked with them. It needs to be at that time. Okay, so I cannot, but try this other person that maybe he can. And that way, instead of just replying a sharp no, a no period, if it is an important thing, I would suggest to bring a solution, a sense of direction, or something else besides just your no. That means my well being, the numbers of hours that I sleep is important. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying no, but I know that you have a problem. You're trying to find a solution. So my way of contributing to that solution is giving an alternative, suggesting something. And this builds a collaborative problem solving using the no multiple times, but no one gets bad or always thinking that you are a pleaser. You're always saying yes, but now you need to say no. It is tough. It is tough. But if you bring specific concepts to build your solutions, that's a great way of doing that. Okay, so finding a way to say no and interact with the solution
Mm-hmm.
can be a really, really good alternative uh, to manage. Okay.
Very good, very good. Yes. And this is the subject that I was planning to come into, like not how in the Rose method we suggest people to say no, but not creating this awkward atmosphere around us. And you gave a really good example. So, for example, your boss asks, I have a lot of mentorees, and one of them brought me this these days, and he said, I have a lot of important things to do. Then my boss brings something else to me, and I'm overwhelmed. I have so many things to do. I said, okay. Then you sit with him or with her, it doesn't matter, and you say, I have all those tasks. Let's plan which ones are more urgent or important, and I have to work on them earlier, and which ones I can ask someone else to do or I can do later. I cannot, like, I don't have enough time to do everything that you ask me, and I understand they are important. So let's decide which one I'm going to do first. So you are not saying a direct no, but you are putting a limit.
Mhm.
Other moments, it can happen that someone asks something to you, not because you are the best person to solve that situation, but you are the closest one or the available one. So this happened to me. Someone asked me something, and before saying yes, because we want to please people, especially if we like those people. Oh yes, I can do that for you. I was like, okay, am I the right person to solve that? No, I was just going to be someone in the middle of the solution and the problem. I was not doing anything. So I said, okay, I think it's easier if someone else does that, but I can help you to talk to this person. You want me to talk to them so they can solve it and it doesn't pass by me.
Mhm.
And so many times I say, oh, no, no, I need your help with something like related to technology, for example. And you tell me, I cannot do it right now, or I can do it later. And in this case, even though it's not the answer that I want, because of course we want our problems to be
Mhm.
solved quickly, it's okay because you are not saying you're not going to help me, but I have a few other things to do. Can you do that next week, maybe? Yeah, of course, it's not that important. So it opens a relationship, it brings fairness to the relationship.
Mhm.
And this is what I believe the relationships should do. So this is what I want to add
Mhm.
today in the conversation. You want to say something? I see some balloon over your head.
Yeah, it is a way of training diplomacy in small tasks, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
you put on the table. You're scheduling your tasks, your urgencies, and you negotiate in a good
Mm-hmm.
way the cause and pros of that task, okay. And when you do that with your friends, your close ones, you are making yourself capable of a bigger diplomacy. If, like, imagine that you are a leader of a team and you need to develop that skill. Okay. Diplomacy is a tough one. But if you start doing this homework with simple things, you're going to notice how you start to have more ability, improve your skills and diplomacy, okay, and collaboration. And these are soft skills, and they are really important soft skills to develop nowadays. But it's not only when you have the job, okay, or when it's on your job description. No, you can start immediately. Start with your friends, with your partner, with your colleagues, with your siblings, because those things will help a lot to gain the muscle that you need for the real stuff. Okay, so then when you are CEO of a company and you hear a no, and then you can work that no around, or build a possible yes, and so on. It's not being how can I say manipulative, is how to put transparency and diplomacy on the table
Mm-hmm.
so we can all grow all together. And that of course impacts your well-being, general well-being. It work improves your focus, improves your relationship with the others in the company, and so on. So it's a safe investment.
It is, it is. And getting the subject of soft skills, communication is one of the most important skills that everyone needs to work on. And it always appears in the Economic World Forum,
Yeah.
I think this is the name. And communication is always there, like a skill for the future to thrive. Communication is always there. So learning to say no, but also if you are the leader, you talk to people you work with. And I do that a lot. Look, we're going to work together and I need us to have a really good communication. And I do that with everyone I'm working with. So we have to have a really good communication. So if I ask you something and you're not comfortable, please tell me. And I think especially if you are leader, you have in this leadership position, it's so, it feels so good that you have a leader, that's someone that you can talk to, that you have a good communication, you're not afraid of this person. So if you are a leader, leave the possibility of hearing a no open. Tell that to people you are leader. Look,
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you something. If you don't know or if you cannot do, please let me know, and we're going to work on an answer or a result together. Or if I ask you something and it's not your working hours, you I just Sometimes I'm asking you because I am in my working hours. But if you're not in yours, you can ignore my message and you can
Hmm.
answer me, because today we work with people with different time zones, and it's important to respect. It's part of the limits we were talking about.
Yeah.
So you have to your limits, but you also have to respect others' limits. And I always say, sometimes during a Saturday, I remember something and I'm gonna send you a message. Ignore it until your work time. And you can answer me only when you're working. It's okay.
Mhm.
Or if you don't know how to do it, or if it's not on your job description or something, let me know. We can find a solution together. But it's part of this communication transparency that help us to have a longer relationship. Because youngers today, like Gen Z and millennials, it's important for them. Communication, transparency, it's so important. And okay, I don't want to work with them. Okay, so what you're gonna do if you don't want to work with them? With whom you're going to work, because they are here and they
They
are
are.
working. So we have to adjust, we have to adapt. I'm not telling that you're going to do everything they ask for, but it has to be a win-win. And
Yeah.
for them, more important than their wage is the good environment, is being respected, is being listened. So let's learn. It's better we learn to hear a no. And if you don't say no, to say no sooner than later. It's going to
Yeah.
be way better for you.
Yes, that's gold nowadays,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I think setting up the communication, it is ideal. Okay, when we start working with someone new, that's kind of what you do. Oh, we use this group to communicate about this stuff, and it is about that. Okay, to setting up the rules of communication. And it's like you said, you can send me messages. For example, we work with people from Brazil, so if they work on a specific task in the afternoon or late afternoon, it's going to be night here in Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
means we have a delayed information,
Mm-hmm.
but that's okay if it is established that way. Say, okay, you can send me that at any time. My cell phone, it's on silent mode. Next thing in the morning, I will reply. And that way, you are building the communication standards of that relation, and doing that, you are giving a few steps ahead of a good work environment, a collaborative problem solving, just good things. Okay, and so listening to a no in that environment, it is good. Okay, let's work around. Let's hear why that person is saying no. Okay, having the time, having the importance of hearing others. That's essential. Okay, I will say that is uh, one of the most important skills to develop nowadays.
Yes. So reviewing. When we say no, we are working on our self care. We are working on healthier relationships. We are working on boundaries and with authenticity in relationships. So please, please say no. And I thought that we could bring a challenge to everyone that's listening to us to write on paper and pen, and you're going to write down, because it's stronger for our brain if we write and not if we tap. It's tap, right?
Type.
Type, sorry. Not if we type. So please grab a notebook and a pen and write every day. Okay, how many no's, or what were the situations when I said no, or I should have said no and I didn't? Bring awareness to this kind of situations. You're gonna notice how many no's you are swallowing during your day, and the impact that's having in your body, in your emotions. So write down, and when we bring awareness, probably next time you're gonna say, you know what, I'm so sorry, but I cannot do that today. Is it okay if we do that tomorrow? Or, I'm so sorry, but don't you think that maybe someone else should do this? Or just no. No should be a sentence by itself. If someone says no, we should respect it. But if you are still not comfortable saying no, bring something lighter, but bring awareness to your no's. Bring awareness to the no's you don't say. And let's try to change it. Let's try to switch
Mhm.
this yeses that we don't want to give to no's. Okay, let's do that for a week maybe,
Yeah.
and do that and send it to us. And we're going to be more than happy to hear from you.
Yeah. That's it happens quite often that something happens and then you think, I should have said no.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That's a red flag. Okay.
mm-hmm.
For that exercise, okay, that is a common one that, even to understand, make a self-assessment of why did I say yes and why I'm thinking I should have said no. And you waste a lot of energy thinking about it and revisiting the situation and thinking about it. So it is for your well-being. It is a great exercise for that, to build more quality of life. So do it.
Hmm. It
Don't
just
say no.
reminded me, yeah, it just reminded me that experiment that they did in McDonald's, and you were going to buy something and you should say yes, like this guy said yes to everything they offered. And in a year, he was obese because of the amount of yeses that he said. You want a larger French fries? Yes. You want a larger Coke? Yes. You want a Sunday? Yes. And all the no's that he should have said and he didn't. And at the end of the year, he was with so many health problems because the no's he didn't say. It just came into my mind, this example, and I think it's so graphic that we cannot forget it, right? And
That's
I
true.
think you have an invitation to do.
Yes, I have. So we are going to have a webinar, a free webinar that is going to happen on June 4th at 3 p.m. New York time, which is 8 p.m. London time. Free to enroll. It's very easy to just reach out to us, and we can give you all the tips of how to make the enrollment to that webinar. And it's about stress management. Okay, it's called Beyond
Stronger than stress.
Stronger than stress. That's correct. So you are invited. I'll be very happy to see you in that webinar. We're going to talk about these different points of view regarding stress and stress management. So please be there. I'll be so happy to see many of your faces on the other side of the screen.
And if you wanna do it, just call us, send us a message on Instagram, send us any kind of message that we can reach out to you and you can be part of this free webinar. Thank you, Nono. Have a
Oh,
beautiful week. You that are listening to us, have a mindful week, and we see you next week. Bye bye.
bye bye. See you next week.